Welcome back to another episode of Selling Success. I'm super excited to be here today with you guys. And I have an influx of questions that came in. And one of the questions that I've seen quite a bit from you guys are, how do you stay on top of your real estate game when the market is slower? Like right now for a lot of agents. So a couple years, like for the last couple of years, the market's been hot hitting. Houses been flying off the market in the matter of minutes. New agents were really busy. People that have never done real estate before, everyone was slammed. People actually quit their careers. I know a physician that actually got their real estate license because she said that she would make more money selling real estate than being a physician. I told her she was crazy. She needs to go back and be a physician because medical is one thing that doesn't ever take a hit when the economy goes out of whack. Actually, I think it does better. I don't know what she's doing right now, but I know before, about a year ago, she got her real estate license and she was doing real estate full time. So I get the question a lot of what do you do when the market is slower, or when you don't have a listing, or if you don't have a buyer in that time period. And here is my statements to you guys. Here's what I would suggest you do. Review your business goals and objectives. Excuse me, I can't talk. I just had acupuncture done and I'm exhausted. So I would definitely look into your business goals and your objectives. What do you want out of real estate? Is this where you want to be in your career? Do you see yourself in here full time? What do you do when you're slower? You got to ask yourself these questions, like how many deals do you want to do a year? How many buyers, how many sellers do you want to represent? And really write them down and then dive into that area of it. The other thing is develop and update your market plan. As real estate agents, we're so busy and we don't have time to sit there on social media and play with it and upload things. And we're usually out in the field working with clients, writing up contracts. And by the time the day is done, we've worked a 16-hour day. We're exhausted. The last thing we want to do is hop on our social media. I can tell you, I personally have somebody that handles all my social media because I just don't know how to do it. So when it's a little bit slower, I think it's good to dive into your business a little bit and be like, maybe you want to trademark yourself. Maybe you want to come up with more marketing materials for yourself to market yourself differently. Or maybe you come up with a slogan. I was in Vegas a couple years ago for real estate and somebody helped me come up with a slogan of Becky Sells Boca. And that's how people in that, our world, it's a RE/MAX convention. They knew me as, hey, Becky that sells Boca. And it was just something that I marketed for a long time. And then it kind of diminished for me. But that was just like my marketing thing that somebody helped me come up with. And it was a slogan and people liked it and it worked. And people knew me by Becky Sells Boca. It's funny. I was actually in a Starbucks and somebody walked up to me and he said, hey, you're Becky that sells Boca. He was listening to one of my Instagram or Facebook messages because I used to always end or start with, hi, this is Becky Sells Boca. Welcome back to another week. And then I would always do I always do a market update once a week. The other thing is research your competitors. Research your competition. Look up other real estate agents, see what they're doing, see how many houses they're doing. Ask people in your office, do some research. Google them, see how much revenue they're making a year, see how many houses they're selling, see how many closings they're doing. And if you have somebody that's in your office, like I have a high top producer in my office, he is never busy. But I've asked him before, like, what do you do? Like, what do you do when you are busy? And he's like, I work my database, which is another thing I'm going to come up with next. But he's just like, I just work it and I just call people. And another thing that I do is I ask every agent in my office. So every office is different. My office, we have a Facebook thread. And I will put on that Facebook thread like, hey, does anybody need me for an open house this weekend? Does anybody have an open house? Somebody that's got a new listing that just came on the market that doesn't want to do it. And I will work whatever open house I can possibly get when I'm slower. Therefore, I can possibly get a buyer and work that buyer, or even a seller. I invite all the neighbors over to whenever I'm doing an open house, especially if it's my listing. I will actually send out a mailer in the mail to every house that's in that section and say, please come to our open house. You're welcome to come to our open house. And hopefully that will bring on new sellers or people that want to buy in that area, that are interested in that area, or hey, they might know somebody else. But I work myself that way. When it's not my listing and it's a little bit harder and I only got like 4 days to prep for an open house, obviously I can't send a mailer, but I will do whatever I possibly can, and I will like send a mailer out the following week and say just an open house on your street this weekend. If you're interested in knowing the value of your property, please reach out to me. Something short and sweet and easy. It doesn't have to be anything intricate or super costly. You can actually have a format, print it out, send it out, pay for your postage, and send it out to only the houses on the street if you want to say conserve on money and don't want to pay for the flyer. Flyers are expensive. My mailers cost anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 a month. It's expensive. But if you're going to just do an open house in that area, I would just reach out to those people on that street, maybe, if you don't want to save on some of the money and not pay a fortune for it. The other thing I would do is get organized and streamline your systems. Systems. We all have them. Are you utilizing them? Are you entering your database into your systems? And if so, then what are you doing? What are you doing with those systems? Are you actually working your database? Are you calling them? Are you sending mailers? Are you acknowledging when their birthdays are? Facebook is a wonderful thing. Facebook, if you're friends with your clients on Facebook, you can look up every single birthday if they have it posted. If not, what a great way to call your contacts and say, I'm updating my database. I just want to know when your birthday was so I can send you a nice little card in the mail when your birthday comes. Get in there with your database. Really work that database. Really get everything in there intricate. And then people that you haven't talked to in a long time or people that have been working with another agent, you either do one or two things. Reach out to that client or that prospective client or that old friend, touch base with them. And if nothing comes about it, we have categories in my database. It's like A, B, C, D, and F. And if you're an F client, that's probably like the bottom of the totem pole where I'm probably going to delete them after like 6 months to a year. And I'm just not going to spend a lot of time on them. My A and my B clients, those are who I'm going to spend a lot of my time on. I know another one of my friends in my office, she color codes them. I think her blue and her green are her biggest fears of influence of her clients. And then her reds are like, they're not good for her. So she doesn't waste her time on them. But your A's and your B's clients or your blue and your green clients, those are clients that you're going to spend time on. So when you are slow, reach out to them. Take them out to dinner. Take them out to lunch. Send them a Starbucks card. Send them a letter in the mail. Call them and check on Susie and Andy and see how their kids are doing. Literally reach out to them, and I promise you, after making calls by like the 3rd or 4th or 5th day, you're going to get some people talking about you and wanting to question. And I get a lot of clients when I touch base with my database saying, hey, how's the market? And that's my time in that instant to let them know how the market is going and doing and what we're seeing differently from now and from before when they bought whenever. The other thing they always ask me is, what do you think the interest rates are going to do? I do think we're coming, our interest rates are high right now. It's at 7%. I do feel in the next little bit, from what I'm told by my lenders and people that are in the lending field, that we're going to see a little bit of a decrease. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see it start diminishing little by little, but we're going to wait to see, what's going to happen. We're going to wait to see around the holiday time. And we don't know. We really don't know what's going to happen, to be honest with you. I can't imagine it going up too much higher, but I do picture them, from what I'm told by, everyone that's in the lending field. I'm not in the lending field. I'm a real estate agent. I'm a realtor. I'm actually a broker's associate. But I do not picture them going up higher from what I'm told. If that happens, I don't know. But we're praying it doesn't go up. All right, let's get on to the next topic. That's what I would do if I was slow. Or, you guys hear me say this a million times, go to networking events. Go network. If you don't know how to network, if you have kids, start with your local PTA or your parent teachers. I don't even know what they're called in other states. But whatever you can do, get involved in your children's school. Go ask your association, hey, can we host events? Go on the social committee. Do whatever you can possibly do to just put yourself out there so then people recognize you. And those are things you can do that when you're slow, but they're actually still productive. I know people are like, my ex-husband used to be like, oh, you just go ahead and play all day long. I'm like, well, actually, I'm working. He's like, no, you just play all day long with your friends. I'm like, but I'm not. I'm actually working. I'm building my sphere and for people to know, like, and trust you. That's how you get your referrals. People need to know, like, and trust you in order for you to get referrals from them. I have repeat clients that I've had for years, and they send me clients constantly. And I am so grateful and thankful for them. And I really do appreciate them trusting me with their friends and their family member. That's the biggest thank you I could ever get from somebody, is to give me a referral, because that means that I'm actually doing something right and that they trust me and they trust my professionalism and that they know that I'm going to take care of their family members, clients, friends, or whoever they might refer to me. And for them, I'm always sincerely appreciative of them. The next thing you guys asked me about, this is the next question I'm going to answer you guys, is how to sell your house fast when we're in a slower market. Okay, price. You don't want to be chasing a down market, right? You don't want to be like, let's say a house is $1 million, right? If you want to sell your house fast, you got to price it for like $950,000. I know. You guys are like, no. It's worth $1 million too. Yes, but when we're in a down market, if you want to sell it quick, or maybe 975, 990, 985, but if you're going to be at that million mark, I'm using $1 million as an example, but if you're going to be at that million mark, then if all your neighbors are selling for 900, 950, 975, you're going to be on the market a while. You know, I don't care if your house is the nicest house in the neighborhood. And I'm not talking about right now. Right now, our market is still hot. Houses are still selling very quickly. I'm talking about in a slow market. And this is what people are scared of, that it's going to be a slow market. I can tell you right before COVID, my clients were asking me like, oh my God, what's going to happen? We're not going to buy. We're going to hold off, because we didn't know what was going on. And to be honest with you, I think all of us real estate agents and all of our clients, we thought the market was going to crash very badly. And it didn't. It did the actual opposite. And I feel like in the next little bit, we're really going to be able to tell what's going to happen with the market. I do think right now people are going back to school. Kids are going back to school. People are spending their last couple weeks vacationing. So the markets are a little slow right now, slower. But I do feel like in the next little bit, like September, October, we'll see another uptake in the market going a little bit quicker. People's rents are through the roof, and people can't sustain paying their rent when they could pay the mortgage that's of equal or lesser value, and they actually have liquidity in their property as opposed to not having it in a rental property. So I think that's going to be another eye-opening thing that we're going to see. The other thing you can possibly do is, if the house is not perfect or not redone, is stage your home. You can pay for a person to come in there and stage everything to make it look beautiful. Therefore, it will photograph nice. People will come in and they can actually envision their space. I actually tell my clients that have a cluttered home is to get a pod, rent a pod, a storage unit, and declutter your home. A decluttered home is a house that's going to sell quickly as opposed to a house that's very cluttered. So people like to see furniture in a space, but they don't like to see it too cluttered. If you have big, bulky furniture, I'm probably going to go in there and tell you, I assess all of my properties before I list them. And I give my sellers tips and tricks. I wouldn't have 5 hutches in your dining room. People are going to feel like the room feels smaller. I'd probably go down to like 1 or 2 and angle them maybe differently. And then I would ask them to remove the other ones in a pod or put them into their garage, maybe wherever they feel comfortable. But sometimes I have a lot of my clients whose houses are cluttered and I ask them to declutter. I think that houses that have clean countertops, a nice candle lit, I feel like those are houses that usually sell very quickly because they just look like they're an upkept home, as opposed to the garbage overspilling, crud all over the countertops, wet towels on the ground. I feel like those houses, people feel like you don't take care of it as much, and they tend to not place offers as quickly. The other thing is offer home buyers incentives. I actually just went to Marketing Madness this morning and we were talking about this. Offer your buyers incentives. What does that mean? On my end, it means that you can either give them X amount of dollars. Say you want to purchase, you say you want to list your house at that $1 million mark, right? You want $1 million out of that house. So then you say, I'm willing to give the buyers X amount of money to buy down their interest rate, since interest rates are so high right now, right? Buyers are going to feel like they need something in order to buy that property. So I think if you offer some type of initiative for that buyer, X amount of dollars, $10,000 to buy down that rate, $15,000 to buy down their interest rate since interest rates are high right now. Or maybe you say bonus to the buyer's agent of $1,000, $5,000. We haven't seen that in a while, but before we used to see that agents were offering whoever brought the buyer an additional $1,000 or $5,000 if they had the deal done by X date. Right? They would say, let's say September, we're in August. So they would say, if you bring me a full price offer by September 15th, on top of your commission, we'll give you another $10,000 as a bonus for bringing a well-qualified buyer to the property, and the property has to close. So agents were offering all types of deals, wheels and deals back in the day. We're not seeing that right now. We're talking about a house that's staying on the market in a slower market. We're not there right now, but we have been there in the past. So I'm addressing it because in some areas that listen to my podcast, this is happening in their area. I have somebody that reached out to me from Oklahoma, and she told me she hasn't sold a house in a year and a half. That's a long time without getting any type of money. I asked her, what is she doing? She told me that she's going to go try a new construction company. Hey, that could work. Or she said that she's reaching out to renters. She's going on the rental list on her local MLS. She's seeing all of the properties that have been rented out the last year, and she's sending them something in the mail saying, hey, I see that your rental renewal is coming up. I was just wondering if you were interested in staying in your current property, if you're interested in purchasing a new property. I have all of these tips and tricks up my sleeves, or whatever she says. But she says, she gets them enticed to either buy. And she actually says, for what you're living in now, I know you're paying $5,000 in rent. For the same amount of money, I can get you a house of this. And she sends them a house that's currently on the market. What an incredible tip this one has told me that she's doing. She hasn't closed a deal in a year and a half. She's starving. She's doing whatever she can possibly do to get it out. And honestly, I might use that tip and trick myself. So if you see me doing that, hey, you never know. I think it's a great tactic to do. Nobody's reaching out to those renters. They go on the MLS, they get off, nobody cares, nobody wants to deal with them. Especially for renters that have been renting the last 2 or 3 years. That is a gold mine. They're spending a fortune on rent, especially if rent prices go up one more time. So we're going to have to see. I don't know yet. But those are my tips and tricks for a slower market and a house that's staying on the market. Also, send out those flyers. You got a house that's coming on the market, host an open house, host a broker's open. Get as many people as you can in that property and stage it. Make it smell good. People remember smells, sights, how you make them feel, and you want them to feel good and at home, and you want them to remember that. So those are all my tips and tricks for you guys for a slower market and for houses that stay on the market. Please feel free to reach out to me with any of your questions or concerns. Like me on Instagram, Becky Skeba-Mancini. Follow me on Facebook, and listen to my podcast where you listen to all your podcasts. I'm on Apple, Spotify, and all your streaming networks. Feel free to call me anytime. I hope you guys have a successful week. Take care.